Good day. This is Global Watch on your digital First Pan-African News Network, TOS Television. I am Abigail Okwade. On Tuesday, Chinese state media reported that the country's top decision-making body, the NPC Standing Committee, has finalized a sweeping overhaul of Hong Kong's electoral system, drastically curbing democratic representation in the city as authorities ensure patriots rule the global financial hub. This amends the annexes of Hong Kong's mini-constitution, the Basic Law. The number of directly elected seats in Parliament has been cut almost by half, and prospective members of Parliament will first be vetted by a pro-Beijing committee to ensure their loyalty to the mainland. The changes will see the number of directly elected representatives fall, and the number of Beijing-approved officials rises in an expanded legislature. Opposition figures say the changes are designed to keep anyone who is not aligned with Beijing's rule out of parliament, and also to ensure only patriotic figures can run for positions of power. But Hong Kong's leader, Carrie Lam, said there is not a one-size-fits-all way of doing democracy, adding the vetting committee would not screen people out based on their political views, but rather weed out any non-patriots. Lam said as long as the candidates can show allegiance to Hong Kong, uphold the Basic Law, pass national security checks, they will be permitted to run for election. The first vote under the changes will elect members to Hong Kong's Legislative Council to be held in December. Now to COVID-19 developments. A mandatory 5-day quarantine for European Union travelers is set to be introduced by the Italian government amid a third wave of infections in a number of countries. Previously, only arrivals from outside the bloc had to self-isolate. Tuesday's decision comes as new rules requiring all air passengers to Germany to provide a negative coronavirus test coming into effect. Since Sunday, passengers entering Germany from France have had to submit a negative test and remain in quarantine for 10 days after German authorities designated the whole of the country a high-risk area. On Tuesday, German Interior Minister Horst announced that the country would increase checks on its land borders to ensure compliance with the new rules. Spain has also changed its rules for certain countries, with people arriving from France by land requiring a negative COVID test. However, it has relaxed its restrictions to allow UK travelers to enter the country from Tuesday. Still on COVID-19, the World Health Organization and 23 world leaders came up with the idea to create an international treaty which will help the world tackle unforeseen health emergencies such as the coronavirus pandemic now affecting the world. The aim of the international treaty will be to ensure that vaccines, medicines, and diagnostics for pandemics are universal and accessible. The idea was proposed in November of 2020 by Charles Michel, the chairman of European Union leaders at a summit. On Tuesday, it was formally supported by the World Health Organization and leaders of Spain, Germany, France, Kenya, Britain, Costa Rica, Romania, the Netherlands, Portugal, Greece, Korea, Chile, Rwanda, Albania, South Africa, Trinidad and Tobago, France, Ukraine, Senegal, Fiji, Norway, Serbia, Indonesia, and Tunisia. According to a statement released by the world leaders, the main objective of such a treaty would be to strengthen the world's resilience, as there will be other pandemics and other major health emergencies which no single government or agencies can tackle alone. The treaty will also help in creating better alert systems, data sharing, research production, and distribution of vaccines, medicines, and diagnostics. The treaty will also state that the health of humans, animals, and the planet at large are all important, connected, and should lead to shared responsibility, transparency, and global cooperation. We believe that nations should work together towards a new international treaty for pandemic preparedness and response, the world leader said. President Jair Bolsonaro of Brazil made 6 changes in his cabinet on Monday as pressure mounts on him over his handling of the COVID-19 pandemic. It is the biggest cabinet change since the president came to power 2 years ago. The foreign and defense ministers have been replaced in the reshuffling. Ernesto Araújo, the president's loyal foreign minister, stepped down after he was gravely criticized by lawmakers for damaging Brazil's image with other countries and international bodies. According According to the lawmakers, Araujo's poor handling of relations with China, India, and the U.S. led Brazil to not having sufficient quantities of COVID-19 vaccines. According to reports, Brazil's health service is collapsing as the country is battling a deadly second wave. There has been more than 12 million confirmed cases and over 300,000 COVID-19 deaths in Brazil. Health Minister Marcelo has announced that he was working to get an earlier delivery of Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine supplies from the United States. The rollout of vaccination program across the vast country has been a struggle in Brazil. So far, it has been using the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine and China's CoronaVac, both of which require 2 jabs. The country has also ordered for the single dose of Johnson & Johnson vaccine and the Russia-made Sputnik V jab. You are watching Global Watch. More stories after the break. Just stay tuned. Thank you for staying tuned. You are still watching Global Watch on your digital First Pan-African News Network, TOS Television. The President of the United States, Joe Biden, has announced that 90% of the adults in the country would be eligible to take the COVID-19 vaccination by April 19, which is 3 weeks from now, while the remaining 10% no later than the 1st of May. Biden also urged the authorities to continue making wearing of masks obligatory in public places to fight the virus, as the war is far from won.
Of all ages and backgrounds stepped up as well. My fellow Americans, look at what we have done in the past 10 weeks. No other country has come close. 100 million shots in less than 60 days. And now we're moving to the next 100 million shots in just 40 days. You heard me say many times before, our progress on vaccination is. I'm also pleased to announce that we're on track this week, just 10 weeks after I became president, to achieve nearly 75% of Americans.
Speaking from the White House, President Biden also told officials to ensure there is a vaccine site within 5 miles of 90% of all Americans by April 19. The United States has recorded around 60,000 new cases daily in the past week, which is a rise of 7%, according to Johns Hopkins University COVID-19 tracker. The country has reported more than 30,331,000 confirmed cases and over 550,000 deaths. Under Biden's administration, as many as 100 million jabs have been administered in less than 60 days of his administration, and they are now moving on to the next 100 million shots in just 40 days. Local officials reported that at least three polio vaccination team members, all women, were killed by unknown assailants in the eastern Nangarhar province of Afghanistan on Tuesday. The provincial administration spokesman said the incident happened before noon in the provincial capital of Jalabad on the second day of a nationwide polio vaccination campaign for 9.2 million children below 5 years. No one claimed immediate responsibility for the attack, but the province is saddened by the Taliban-led insurgency. The Ministry of Health urged the Taliban to support and permit the vaccination in their areas. UNICEF figures showed that Afghanistan and Pakistan are the only 2 remaining polio-endemic countries in the world. Protesters in Myanmar have launched a garbage strike against the military as the number of civilians killed by the junta demonstration against the country's military coup on 1st of February has reached 500. This data was released by the Assistance Association for Political Prisoners Advocacy Group. According to photos posted on social media, rubbish piled up on the streets of Myanmar's main city on Tuesday as thousands of protesters came out in several other towns across the country. There were no immediate reports of violence. 141 people died on Saturday alone in South Yangon district of Yangon. Around 8 of 14 individuals killed on Monday were in Yangon, where witnesses said security forces fired a heavier caliber weapon than usual towards protesters crouching behind the makeshift barricades of sandbags. On Tuesday, a resident in South Yangon said the military have been cracking down in the area overnight, raising concern of more casualties. The demonstration against the military rule has affected large parts of the economy, and in a new tactic, protesters sought to step up the campaign by asking residents to drop garbage at main roads. Antonio Guterres, the United Nations Secretary General, has urged Myanmar's junta to stop killing protesters. And that is it on Global Watch today. For more updates, do visit our website at www.tostvnetwork.com. Do follow and like our social media handles on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And remember to subscribe on YouTube. I am Abigail Okwade. Remain safe.